after 5 p.m. The storm swept into Erie County with a vengeance, claiming at least 8 lives in the Albion area. The storm steamrolled into Albion and Cranesville, leveling homes, stores, damaging churches, and uprooting trees. ICU's Vance McBride and cameraman Larry Mancuso were among the first to arrive on the scene, and they found what can only be termed total devastation. Residents stunned, standing in pouring rain, working feverishly, trying to find loved ones and others.
To see if anyone's
We're checking every house in the area, and we have some people buried down here in the debris. We know that, and we're sure there's more buried in the debris, but we're checking right now. We're checking what we can in the open houses, and we're going to get into the debris as quick as we can.
I was upstairs in the rectory. Didn't realize at first what was happening, but when I did, I simply threw myself under a sofa there against the wall. I was banged around, but I'm not hurt at all. But there are people who are hurt, 1 man dead, and we're still trying to get people out of buildings here.
They're trying to get a young lady out of this house behind me now.
There's an elderly gentleman down here who's pinned that they're trying to get out to.
This is widespread destruction.
I would guess 100 yards this way, 100 yards that way. It just came down and hit and went back up, according to the damage that's here, but it leveled everything that's here.
Emergency units from over a dozen fire departments, Emergicare, the Erie County Emergency Management Team were all immediately dispatched to the scene, along with emergency teams from local hospitals. An emergency shelter was set up by the Red Cross in the junior high school in Albion, also at the Cranesville Fire Department. A 9 p.m. curfew was imposed in the Albion borough. Only emergency personnel allowed on the streets. There have even been reports of looting. Red Cross officials are coordinating relief efforts in Erie County. Officials in Union City and the Wattsburg area report 7 homes destroyed, about 35 family members displaced, over 100 head of cattle have been lost. Officials say damage in the Union City and Wattsburg area alone will easily top $1 million. Emergency crews will continue the work effort throughout the evening. Frank Razzone, ICU News.
The destruction created by this tornado shocked everyone as they walked the streets of what used to be their neighborhood. People searched through the rubble looking for anything that was not destroyed, but it was hopeless.
We got to John Williams Avenue, we stopped, and that's where we started our triage. Just there's people all over the place, and
rescue workers were not the only ones devastated by the tragedy. Relatives desperately searched for family members, hoping for the best. For the firemen, paramedics, and other emergency medical volunteers, there was no time to dwell on what happened. They quickly transferred the injured to the Albion Fire Department. The firehouse turned into a miniature hospital, and medical personnel had to deal with a constant flow of injured people coming in. Paramedics were constantly put to the test. This man's heart stopped beating when he noticed his wife needed extra medical attention, but he was quickly revived and his condition is not serious.
A lot of fractures and chest injuries, head injuries, arm injuries, kidney injuries, back injuries. It was a carnage. It's like a war.
Rescue officials called for a 9 o'clock curfew earlier tonight, hoping to clear the streets to start cleanup operations. But as the night wore on, more curious onlookers filtered in, hoping for one glimpse to see what happened.
this is the worst thing that's ever happened in this town, and it's sad. You know, I've lived here all my life, and we never thought anything like this could happen to us, and it did.
Mike Rosie, ICU News.
From the air, the extent of the damage was hardly noticeable. However, on the ground, Albion resembled a war zone that had been badly bombed. Homes were split in half, much like you would open a child's dollhouse. Some had the entire back half knocked away by the power of the tornado. Others were completely leveled. Many residents walked through the streets of what used to be their quiet neighborhood in disbelief of what has happened, while others tried to salvage whatever they could. However, here at the Kennedy Trailer Court, there wasn't much left to salvage. Only a few stones, a few bricks of foundations where the trailers used to be. There were 13 trailers in all here, and after the tornado touched down, not a one could be found.
Half of it's there, and the other half's way down in the ravine there, and Everything I own's gone. Everything.
Able to salvage anything?
Nothing. I just went out and bought all new furniture, everything, and it's all just gone. They make new ones every day, I guess. My wife and family's okay. That's all that matters.
So what's the next move for you and your husband that you can see?
Nothing. Just fine living with family for a while.
Much of the property in the area is insured by Erie Insurance Exchange. Early this morning, top officials were on the scene in efforts of compiling a damage estimate. At present, the rough estimations say the dollar loss to the homes only is nearing the $1 million mark.
Well, if you take $35,000 to $50,000 per unit as a ballpark figure times 150, that's about how many units we're looking at a quick figure. This, of course, does not take into consideration the many cars and other items that are insurable here. We have people coming from Harrisburg, Allentown, Pittsburgh, our own adjusters, who will be down here tomorrow until this is cleaned up, writing checks.
Confirmed reports state that the tornado has taken at least 12 lives in just this community alone, with 10 still missing. Last night, there were reports of looting, and today the National Guard was on the scene policing the area. Since the disaster, Albion has almost been cut off from the rest of the world, and utility crews rolled in to try to restore power and phone service. Better than 200 volunteers are working at the scene using heavy equipment.
They have called 8s and 9s. I'm not sure what that term means. Heavy equipment. They have high lifts, buckets that can take great big chunks out of wherever. They have backhoes available. We have other people that have volunteered. We have power saw crews volunteering. All we're waiting is to make sure that when we go ahead, we're not going to get in any difficulty with any of the residents and not running into any problems with utilities.
No doubt cleanup efforts will continue through the weekend. For exactly how long, no one knows. According to the mayor, Albion will remain closed to everyone except emergency crews, insurance companies, and the press. Harry Hairston, ICU News in Albion.